Picture this: a roaring fire in a grand hearth, the scent of roasting meats, the sparkle of holly and ivy draped across wooden beams. The British Christmas dinner, steeped in history and tradition, has long been more than just a meal. It's a story of celebration, symbolism, and centuries of change. But how did this festive feast evolve, from medieval banquets with boars' heads to the turkey and trimmings we enjoy today? The history of the British Christmas dinner is as rich and layered as the dishes themselves. So, pour yourself a warm drink, settle in by the fire, and let's embark on a journey through the ages to uncover the origins of Britain's most cherished festive meal. Our journey begins in medieval Britain, a time when Christmas was as much a celebration of faith as it was of feasting. For the people of the Middle Ages, the festive season provided a welcome reprieve from the harshness of winter and an opportunity to come together in grand communal celebrations. The centerpiece of these feasts? A banquet so lavish it could rival the most decadent of modern Christmas dinners. In the great halls of castles and manor houses, the Christmas feast was a spectacle of abundance and extravagance. At the heart of the medieval table was often the boar's head, an impressive symbol of strength and prosperity. This delicacy was not only a culinary triumph but also a visual marvel, often adorned with garlands and presented to the sound of trumpets and song. Alongside the boar, diners enjoyed roasted swans, pheasants, venison, and even peacocks. The bird's colourful plumage was sometimes reattached after cooking for a truly jaw-dropping presentation. These meats were complemented by rich stews, hearty pies, and seasonal vegetables, all prepared with care and served in endless abundance. For dessert, medieval diners indulged in frumenty, a creamy porridge made from cracked wheat, milk, and spices like cinnamon, nutmeg, and saffron, luxuries imported from the far reaches of the world. Frumenty was a symbol of the season's opulence, representing the wealth and global reach of medieval trade routes. Accompanying this was spiced wine and ale known as wassail, which flowed freely and encouraged festive cheer and revelry. Beyond the food, the atmosphere was a feast for the senses. Halls were lavishly decorated with holly, ivy, and mistletoe, symbols of eternal life and protection. Roaring fires warmed the grand spaces, and the air was filled with the melodies of minstrels, the laughter of jesters, and the spectacle of acrobats and dancers. This was Christmas in medieval Britain, a time when food, faith, and festivity came together in spectacular fashion, laying the foundation for the traditions we hold dear today. As the centuries turned, so did the traditions of Christmas. Moving into Tudor Britain, we see a shift in festive dining, where old customs blended with new influences, creating the foundation of many of the Christmas traditions we still recognize today. The Tudors, known for their love of grandeur and excess, elevated the Christmas feast to an art form. One of the most notable additions to the Tudor Christmas table was turkey, a bird native to the Americas. Turkey was introduced to Britain in the 1520s by explorers returning from the New World. While it didn't immediately replace traditional meats like goose or beef, it quickly gained popularity among the wealthy thanks to its size and ability to feed larger households. By the reign of Henry VIII, turkey had become a centerpiece for aristocratic feasts, signaling status and modernity. But turkey wasn't the only star of the show. The Tudor Christmas feast was a sprawling affair that included mince pies, which in their original form were far more savoury than sweet. These early pies were filled with minced meats like mutton or beef, mixed with fruits and warming spices. They were said to represent the gifts of the Magi, with their oblong shape mimicking a manger. For the Tudors, every bite of their feast was steeped in symbolism. The festive spread also included marchpane, an early form of marzipan, which was often moulded into elaborate shapes and painted with edible gold. Sweets like marchpane were not only delicious, but also served as a demonstration of wealth and artistic skill. Wassail bowls, filled with spiced ale or cider, were passed around to toast the health and prosperity of all gathered, a tradition that dates back to Anglo-Saxon times but flourished in the Tudor courts. The Tudors embraced not only the feasting but the atmosphere of celebration. Carol singing, mummers performing plays, and games like Snapdragon, where players plucked raisins from flaming brandy, filled the long winter evenings. The 12 days of Christmas were observed with fervour, culminating in Twelfth Night, a night of mischief and merriment overseen by a Lord of Misrule. The Tudor Christmas was not just a single day of feasting. It was an extended celebration that blended faith, folklore, and indulgence. As we move into the Georgian era, Christmas in Britain began to reflect the refinement and elegance of the time. While the Tudors were known for their exuberance, the Georgians added a sense of sophistication to the festive season, blending the traditions of old with the cultural shifts of a new age. One of the most notable contributions of this period was the rise of Christmas pudding. While early versions known as plum porridge or plum pudding had been around since medieval times, the Georgian era transformed it into a true centerpiece of the festive meal. These puddings were rich and indulgent, made with dried fruits and spices, then steamed to perfection. The process of making Christmas pudding became a family event, often tied to the tradition of Stir-Up Sunday, where each member of the household took turns stirring the mixture while making a wish. The Georgian table was also characterized by an array of elegant dishes, from roast beef and goose to intricate pastries and desserts. The addition of imported ingredients such as sugar and spices reflected the growing influence of Britain's global trade empire. These ingredients allowed for more elaborate and sweet confections, which became a hallmark of Georgian Christmas feasts. Beyond the dining table, the Georgian era saw the refinement of Christmas entertainment. Formal dances and concerts became popular, as did the tradition of gift-giving among the wealthy. The 12 days of Christmas continued to hold significance, with grand balls and social gatherings marking the season. Twelfth Night celebrations reached new heights of theatricality, often involving elaborate cakes and costumes that blurred the lines between feast and performance. Yet Christmas during the Georgian era was not universally celebrated. Among the working classes, the season was often marked with simple meals and modest gatherings. However, it was this contrast, the grandeur of the aristocracy and the humble festivities of the lower classes, that laid the groundwork for the Victorian reimagining of Christmas as a holiday for all. As we step into the Victorian era, we enter a time when Christmas, as we know it today, truly took shape. The Victorians, with their passion for tradition and innovation, reimagined the holiday, blending older customs with new ideas to create a celebration centered around family, charity, and of course food. One of the most significant changes during this era was the widespread adoption of turkey as the centerpiece of the Christmas dinner. While turkey had been enjoyed by the wealthy since Tudor times, advancements in farming and transport made it more affordable for the growing middle class. By the late 19th century, turkey had overtaken goose and beef as the preferred Christmas roast, becoming a symbol of prosperity and modernity. The Victorians also revolutionized side dishes and desserts. Potatoes, often roasted to golden perfection, became a staple alongside other vegetables like Brussels sprouts and parsnips. Meanwhile, the traditional Christmas pudding gained its iconic presentation during this time. Steamed, doused in brandy and set alight before being brought to the table. This theatrical display added a sense of drama and wonder to the meal, delighting both children and adults. The introduction of Christmas crackers added a playful element to the dinner table. Invented by Tom Smith in 1847, these festive novelties featured a small snap, a paper hat, a joke, and a little trinket. Crackers quickly became a beloved tradition, bringing laughter and light-heartedness to the holiday feast. Beyond the table, Victorian Christmases were deeply influenced by the royal family. Queen Victoria and Prince Albert popularized the Christmas tree, a tradition Albert brought from his German homeland. Under the tree, gifts were exchanged, and the holiday's emphasis on generosity and family connection became a central theme. Carol singing, inspired by ancient traditions, was revived, with songs like Silent Night and God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen becoming seasonal staples. In Victorian Britain, Christmas became a unifying celebration. The era's industrial and social progress made many of these traditions accessible to families of all classes. Whether in a grand manor house or a modest home, the Christmas dinner was a moment to gather, share, and celebrate the joys of the season, a legacy that continues to this day. As the 20th century dawned, Britain's Christmas dinner began to take on its modern form, shaped by the changing times, economic influences, and global events. While the foundations laid by the Victorians remained strong, new traditions and practicalities emerged, reflecting the spirit of each passing decade. The early 20th century saw a continuation of many Victorian customs, but with one major change: the democratization of the Christmas feast. Improvements in farming and transportation meant that turkey, once a luxury for the wealthy, became more accessible to working-class families. By the 1930s, it was firmly established as the centerpiece of the British Christmas dinner, cementing its place as the nation's favorite festive roast. The upheaval of the Second World War brought significant challenges to the traditional Christmas meal. With strict rationing in place, families had to be resourceful, often substituting turkey for alternatives like rabbit or a smaller chicken. Creative cooks used whatever ingredients they could find, and desserts like Christmas pudding were sometimes made without key staples like butter or eggs. Despite these hardships, the Christmas spirit endured, with families coming together to make do and celebrate however they could. The post-war boom of the 1950s and 1960s saw a revival of festive indulgence. Supermarkets and refrigeration made a wider variety of foods available to households, and iconic side dishes like pigs in blankets began to appear on the Christmas table. Pre-made items like mince pies and stuffing mixes became increasingly popular, reflecting the changing pace of modern life. Television also played a key role in shaping the 20th century Christmas dinner. Cookery shows introduced new ideas, while festive adverts for food brands like Bird's Eye and Cadbury reinforced the association of indulgence with the holiday season. By the late 20th century, the Christmas meal had become not just a feast, but a carefully curated event, often including regional variations such as Scottish clootie dumplings or Welsh laverbread. Through war, peace, and progress, the Christmas dinner evolved into the feast we know today, a celebration of family, tradition, and the resilience of festive joy. Each dish on the modern table, from the turkey to the pudding, carries with it the echoes of centuries of British history and culture. Our journey through the history of the British Christmas dinner shows us that this festive meal is more than just food. It's a reflection of Britain's culture, resilience, and sense of togetherness. From the boar's head in medieval banquets to the roast turkey of today, every dish carries with it a story of the people, traditions, and times that shaped it. The Christmas dinner is more than just a feast. It's a bridge between the past and present, connecting us to the celebrations of our ancestors. The roaring fires of Tudor halls, the ingenuity of wartime families, and the indulgence of Victorian feasts all live on in the dishes we prepare and share today. Even the smallest traditions, like lighting a Christmas pudding or pulling a cracker, echo centuries of history and remind us of the enduring spirit of Christmas. As we gather around our own tables this festive season, let us remember the legacy behind each bite. The British Christmas dinner is not just a meal. It's a celebration of family, gratitude, and the traditions that bring us together year after year. No matter how the world changes, the heart of the Christmas dinner remains the same, a moment to pause, reflect, and share in the joy of the season. Thank you for joining us on this journey through history. We hope it's given you a deeper appreciation for the feast that graces our tables every December 25th. From all of us here at Ancient Britain Myths, we wish you a very Merry Christmas and a joyful holiday season.